Hi everyone, this is Kylie from Stampers Workshop. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Australia. Today we're making a quick and easy card which is actually cased from the 2021 to 2022 Annual Catalogue. For this you'll need a few supplies including the Pampered Pets stamp set and the coordinating Pets dies. Ink up the images using TUXEDO black memento ink and stamp them down onto your basic white cardstock. All you need to do now is colour them, and I'm using Stampin' Blends. So now we get to the fun part, which is colouring, and I'm using the Stampin' Blends. For the bowl and for the dog's collar, I'm using dark and light Melon Mambo. I just start with a light wash of the light Melon Mambo, add a little bit of the dark Melon Mambo to the inside of the bowl and the edges to try and sort of add a little bit of depth, and then go over the top with another wash of the light so that it sort of looks a little bit blended. I know it's tempting to sort of keep working it to have a really nice smooth blend, but due to the size of that particular image you could end up having it bleed, so underwork it rather than overwork it and it will look really good and no one will notice. Next up we're onto the dog. I'm using 3 colours for this one: light and dark smoky slate as well as light basic black. Obviously you could colour it any way you would like. The catalogue sample has browns and it looks really cute, but you know, depending on the dog you could add lots of different colours, or you could go for more of a red or a darker brown or a white with just highlights of grey. Some dogs might have spots, or just do however you like. I've just decided to go with a straight grey. I tend to start by doing a wash of the lightest colour first, and then I start to build up by adding the shadows. So I'll use a combination of the light basic black and the dark smoky slate, and I add it into areas which I think will be shadowed, so a little bit under where his belly is, where his legs crossing, and just try to make it a little bit more interesting. I don't worry about where is the light coming from. I'm not an expert colorist. I just do something just to add a little more depth and dimension. Once you've finished, take your pet's dies. Now there isn't one for the bowl, so you'll need to fussy cut that, but there is one for the dog. So run it through your die cutting machine. Doesn't it look cute? I think it looks great. And then chop out the bowl. It's quite easy to fussy cut. Just leave a little bit of white around it so that it does tie in with the image that you've die cut. Next up, we'll take a little bit of patterned paper. This is pool party paper, and I'm going to do something which I don't do very often, and that is stamp the sentiment directly onto the pattern paper. You've got to make sure that the paper that you choose doesn't overwhelm the stamped image, so you can still read it, particularly when it comes to using a stamp on a sentiment. But a lighter colour like this, it still pops. Now we're going to cut it out. I played around with 2 sizes of rectangles. This is the stitched rectangle dies. The first would have looked really cute, except we would have had overhanging of the die cut images, and whilst that could have looked really cute, I didn't want that, and the sample didn't have that, and I was casing the sample. So I chose the next size up, and that way both images fitted neatly into that space. How cute is that looking? Now we need to attach those images to that card panel. Now you could do this 2 ways. I could have actually made my card base, stuck the panel to it, and then added the image, but because I was sort of working on that, I decided to adhere it first. Sometimes when you add the bulky things and then try to put your adhesive on the back, it can be a little awkward, so keep that in mind if you decide to create a card like this one. I like a little dimension, so that's what we've added in the form of Stampin' Dimensionals. And I tend to add a lot, so you don't need to use as many as I do. I do get a bit carried away. I like to sort of make as much of it popped up as possible so that if it goes through the mail, we don't sort of end up with any weird indentations or things like that. Okay, now we're up to the final stage, and that is to create the card base. I tend to make 2 card bases at once. So I just pop one into my box to use later, or I make multiple cards at the same time. The colour I've used is So Saffron, and that also is the same that's used in the catalogue. It's a bit plain, so I did run that card base through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, and that made me a bit happier. Now you can see here I'm trying to add my adhesive and I'm having to work around what I've already stuck down. So if you make this card, perhaps add the panel, then add your popped up images. It'll just make it a little bit easier. And there you have it. That's our card, cased from page 55 of the annual catalogue. If you need any supplies, you can get them through my online store. Pop by my blog at www.stampersworkshop.com. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.